Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another District Gooner Pod. It's your two favorite DC Gooners.
Howdy, it's your boy Steven and KP back at it again after Champions League. But this week we got a special episode for you. For the preview for City, we have our guest host on, Ron Reyes. Say hi to the people.
Hello, everyone. Excited for the match on Sunday. Excited to talk about it.
Happy to have you with us, dude. It is exciting. Sunday is going to be really fun. Before we get to all that, let's just jump right in and chat Champions League. Obviously, the first round of the matches took place this week, and I'm going to start out with Arsenal and just say, what a snooze fest, but we had 0-0 on the pod, and my co-host had the draw on the pod. But David Raya stole all the headlines, didn't he?
Yeah, let's wrap up the 90 minutes here in like 2 minutes. It was like dead rubber match. I think we had 10 good minutes at the beginning as far as Arsenal goes. The rest of the 80 were just we're there. Like we just kind of sat there and watched it happen. It's like watching a movie where there was actually no climax at all. It just happened all before us and we wasted 90 minutes. Raya, awesome. Everybody else, just like meh. But it really leads into the conversation for Sunday. Like, what is going to happen? I think there's a lot of chatter. Not great. Not a great performance. But to be fair, I called the draw. I think Atalanta played well. It was a good game. I actually see them probably going through to the knockout stage just based on their performance. They won the Europa League. Like, damn, they put in a good performance. So that's that.
They were good, dude. They were impressive. I got to give a shout out to Benny Blanco on the right, dude, silencing a guy who had a hat trick in the final of the Europa League. I mean, look, man, where were you?
Yeah, there it was.
So that was pretty fun, man. And the rest of them, yeah, we're going to have to chat about their performance as we go through the lineup predictions because the two Brazilians up top are on the chopping block, dude. How did everything go with Manchester City, Ron?
Same result, 0-0 with Inter Milan, champions of Italy. It was a really good game. Super good game. Really well matched. They possessed super well. They also were super solid at the back. Bastoni is so good. But yeah, just what you would expect from an Italian side. Really organized, really structured. Barella looked really good as well. You know, we had really good chances to Gundogan headers at the end of the match there that we probably could have won, but we definitely could have conceded. So not the worst result in the world. It was actually a really, really fun game despite it being 0-0. So overall, not too phased about drawing our first match. They're a really good side and we tied.
Fair enough. I got to ask you, Keon, give me your one bright spot and your one kind of, I guess, dark spot. I'll just go easy with it. One bright spot, one dark spot from the matchup we had.
Yeah, I mean, I think you put the David Raya stuff aside. I'm happy with a point to start out. Whatever tournament it is, whatever league match it is, the first game is always the hardest, and we know that. And I was pleased. I was surprised that the starting lineup, kind of the back line specifically, I was surprised that both of our center backs played. I guess that's my one gloomy sort of look at it, that, I wish those players had a little bit more rest. But the rest of it, I take the point. It looks like we're sitting in 16th place in the table now. And I mean, you and I chatted about it. I said 8 games and you have to win 5, but I also just thought the other 3 have to be 2 draws and 1 loss. That's how I was approaching the other 3. How did you feel about everything?
Yeah, I think the bright spot is we didn't give up a goal. It's away from home. Didn't give up a goal. So I'm going to say that's the bright spot. I'm fine with getting a point like you. I think if you look at the 8 matches we have, this is probably one of the tougher ones. Like, we know this was going to be a competitive game. If we had played them at home, I think the expectation would be to win. But it was away, so it's just a little bit different. They had a great atmosphere. Shout out to Atalanta. The atmosphere was lit for a while. They're singing songs. For as boring of a game as it was, like, they were in it, which I like. The gloominess, the dark side of it is, I'm going to say probably the substitutions I did not really like personally. And I don't think I'm not going to say that's a huge knock. I would say it's both a knock on Arteta and the players. I think the players that came on as substitutions did not cover themselves in glory. There was a few players that came on that actually got the opportunity to get minutes. But I also felt like there were substitutions made that were based on the actual play of the player. Thomas Partey, I think they took him out because he did not have a great game. But there's other players out there that did not have great games that continued to play. So, in my opinion, I like taking a player out that you don't think is playing well. But I think that needs to be used across the board. It's like a dead rubber game. Why didn't Neri play? I thought this was a good opportunity to give the kid minutes. Like, why not? Nothing's really happening. Like, let him play. It's a Champions League game. We got Odegaard out, Marina out for the next, I don't know how many weeks. Let's just say 6 weeks. And give the kid some minutes, man. Because what we saw, we need more, right? We need something else. Like, why not? Give it a shot.
I agree with you. I think even with the substitutions, I mean, when I think about them, Raheem Sterling, that wasn't a great cameo. I think there were a few moments where you saw his experience show, where you could tell he's just, he's getting the foul. He's giving us a breather. That was nice to see. Trossard, I thought was super lively when he came on. J20, that substitution, yeah, did J20 change the game? It looked like Rice went to the 6 when J20 came on, and J20 was playing more on the left hand of the midfield. The midfield in general, not great. I mean, can you knock King Kai? I don't know. I thought he played well in terms of winning the challenges and just being a presence out there. TP5, I mean, did you think it was a penalty? Because I got to be honest with you. For me personally, I thought Saliba had it covered, and I think that's why the review took so long. I haven't really seen reviews take that long in the Champions League. They're usually very quick with it, but I think it was a 50-50 call, that pen for me.
Yeah, there's definitely a foul. I thought it was the decision of whether it's inside the box or outside the box, and I did think they were going to call it outside the box because that's where the most contact happened. He eventually goes down inside the box. But that dude Ederson, 30 seconds earlier, he dove in the middle of the field to earn them a free kick. So he was, a few times that game, I think he went down kind of soft. So immediately when I'm watching the replay, I'm like, I don't like this guy. It's outside the box. But, I mean, fair enough. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Big man saved it. So, ball don't lie. Ball don't lie.
Well, don't lie, and I gotta give you a shout out, man. You said keep playing David Raya. He's in form, and he's gonna just keep running it. And I mean, that double save, dude. Where would you rank it in terms of the best saves that you've seen from an Arsenal goalkeeper?
Ooh. This one's kind of a defining one, I think. I think from Ramsdale, defining save is that one off Maddison, right? That he scooped up off the bar. To me, this is it for Raya. He's already had 2 huge saves this season so far, but this is the creme de la creme. I mean, it's an amazing save. I've heard people saying, "Oh, well, the header wasn't great. He did put it in the middle of the goal," and I don't buy that. The guy doesn't want to miss, right? He's putting it on frame. There ain't no way he thought he wasn't going to make that shot. Ain't no way.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, just the bounce back alone, I think, gives him enough credit. And I love the way you framed that. It definitely is a defining moment for him as to where we are. And he loves a penalty save in the Champions League. So I got to give him a shout out there. And man, he really is starting to become kind of low-key everyone's favorite. Is it too far, Steven, to say he's been our best player this season?
Yo, I was just thinking that. I was going to throw that question to you today. I would say so far he's the player of the season. I mean, of the clean sheets, we've said this before, last season, a lot of the clean sheets are because of defense. And our 2 center backs, I think they took a lot of the credit. This season, the clean sheets are because of him. He's had to make saves, and he's made them. So I think shout out to him. To me, he's the player of the season so far.
Yeah. Okay. No, that sounds good, man. I think as I look at the table, if I were to just go around the sort of week 1, I was kind of blown away by Bayern Munich's 9-2 I think that one just stands out. They're obviously in first place now with +7 goal differential. I guess that's one of the things about this new format that is kind of unexpected. I think there's going to be some super mismatches every now and then.
Yeah, with the expanded format, right? There's 36 teams now total. Before there were how many?
I couldn't tell you, dude.
That's totally fine. I don't remember how many.
If you bring up a question like that on the pod, you got to have the answer to it yourself, young man. I got to be honest with you, right?
Okay. Yeah, but with the expanded format, I feel like there are more teams that will have an opportunity to win a game here and there, right? Like you'll have some upsets and things like that too, but you also have teams that Celtic can beat, right? Like Celtic crushed their opponent this week as well. So it's cool to see some of the lower table, I guess, sides still be able to get wins and things like that, as opposed to playing like a Bayern Munich twice or Barca twice. Ironically, Barca also lost.
I was going to throw you a question, Ron. So we think it's probably 5 wins to get you through. Just even to the knockouts, like 5 is like a good number. There's probably going to be teams with 4, I would guess. But anything above 5, throwing it up into 6, you're probably going to get the automatic bye. Do you agree with that, or do you think it's going to run differently?
I would agree with that. I would say 6 wins would probably guarantee you that. But I think 5 would still be safe, but 6 you'd be totally safe as a whole. Yeah, because I feel like with the fixture list and just how many games you're playing overall, like it is like you are going to play games midweek where you have tough opponents on either side of it. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of teams that will not play their number one side in a Champions League match, which is actually not super common given the previous format.
And I'm going to have a live fact check. 32 teams last season to 36. So
right.
Well done.
Love a fact check, dude. And I'm looking at this. It looks like the rest of at least for October, most of the games are Tuesday and Wednesday. There's no more Thursday games. So that's weird, to be honest with you. Like that aspect of it is playing on a Thursday. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. I don't care. I think Tuesdays and Wednesdays, just keep it, especially if you're going to flip-flop like this when one set of games you have it on Thursdays and one set of games you don't. That's odd. And I guess the next game will be against PSG on Tuesday. So, Sunday, Tuesday? That's crazy, dude. We could have gotten the Wednesday game, right? You set us up Thursday to then play City on Sunday, and then you set us up for Tuesday to play PSG. And I'm not even sure if it's just like an Arsenal thing. I think this is just poor scheduling.
Yeah, we have a few games like that too, so it isn't just an Arsenal thing, but they have to think about the schedule a little bit. I know that Rodri has come out talking about the amount of games just that the players are playing, but it's also just the scheduling of it too. If it doesn't feel like they always use common sense when it comes to the scheduling piece of things. There's always, like you said, a Sunday to Tuesday, or even, in this situation that we have in this upcoming week, we play on a Wednesday, and then you guys play on a Thursday, and then we play each other on a Sunday. So City naturally have an advantage of one day's rest on Arsenal.
But I think your next game is also on Tuesday, so that aspect of it doesn't transfer over.
No, I just mean for the game on Sunday, just as a whole, like that will affect the game on Sunday.
Sure. Yeah. No. All right. Anything else you want to call out about the Champions League before we get to the nuts and bolts of things?
Barca lost to Monaco. Red card in the first 10 minutes. Former City player Eric Garcia. I'm glad he's gone. Was it a pretty bad pass from Ter Stegen to set him up, and he felt like he had to make the tackle. Lamine Yamal became the second youngest player of all time to score in the Champions League, which is cool. Only behind Ansu Fati, I think, which is kind of crazy. Both Barca boys. But to see them lose, because they've been in good form in the league, was pretty surprising, even with the red card.
There was actually an Arsenal kid who scored in like the under 21, the lower level of the Champions League that they have for the youth, and he became the youngest goal scorer like ever. He's like 14 and a half, dude. Whoa. And he scored. It's very impressive. So Arsenal Academy, dude, shout out to Hell End.
When I was 14, I was like 5 foot, so love that. Congratulations, young man.
It is very cool. All right, man. Well, let's leave the Champions League behind. I think the games are going to fluctuate. The table is going to fluctuate. So we'll see. All eyes on the next game for now for both teams, I suppose, since we have Ron on the pod. But big game coming up on Sunday. I'm actually going to head out of this hotel in Chicago Saturday, going over to Arizona. So I might be able to watch the game with Ron in person. That's going to be fun. I'm excited about that. But my general vibes going into it are, I want to say, also pretty good. Like, at the very least, I feel like we can get a draw. There's been so many times where we've gone there and gotten battered. There's so many times where they even come to the Emirates and we get battered, but hasn't been the case in the last 18 months. And I don't feel that it's crazy to say we can get a result going to the Etihad. How do you feel, Steven?
I'd probably say in the same manner. I feel like this year is a little different, that getting a draw is what we're looking for. Like, I'm going to say as a fan base, I think that's what we're looking for this year. And that's just the status of the squad right now. Not looking great. I think we're a little uncomfortable with how things are going. So I think getting a draw is probably our expectation, what we want to see. Getting the win would be over the moon for that. But losing would be not great either. Losing any strides basically on City. They've unbeaten, won all their games. It's just, you don't want to fall. They're known to end the season strong. They've started as strong as ever, so we gotta kind of keep stride if that's our aspirations.
I have a feeling that it's going to be a pretty drab game. Like, given our last two fixtures against each other, 0-0 and then 1-0. And even in the 1-0, like, it was a very boring game until you guys scored off the deflection off of Ake's face, right? It was Martinelli, I believe, that scored last year. I feel like it's going to be a super boring game. I'm excited. I think that Odegaard being out gives us an advantage, obviously. So I would say that I'm a little bit more confident than I have been in the last two fixtures, I would say, that were over 23-24. But De Bruyne also got hurt over the week. So, I mean, we'll play Phil, but it's going to be an interesting match. I think it'll be a bit drab to watch, but I'm hoping there will be some excitement because, like you said, City have started off very well this season. It's been great.
That's crazy. So Kevin's out. So here comes player of the season, Phil Foden. He's coming in to play Arsenal this weekend.
My underdog.
I saw some people were upset with him. People were convinced that he should have scored in the Champions League game. What is Kevin De Bruyne's injury?
I actually don't know. It looked muscular, though. He came off. Pep doesn't even know really what's going on yet based on the post-match presser and some of the comments afterwards. So I guess we'll see. Kevin always has a muscular injury of some kind during the season, so this is pretty par for the course. But he looked really good at the beginning, and he looked really fit, so this is really disappointing.
He's looked really good. Is Rodri playing?
Rodri did start his first match against Inter Milan, so yeah, he will be playing.
Gotcha. I also think it's going to be a very boring game. Again, I think looking for the draw here. Like, I hate to say it. I like to say we like to go out and try to win games. But maybe the strategy on this is smash and grab. Like, if we get a corner, like, that's going to be our opportunities. But I think we're going to play the long game in that solid shape. Just basically hold out for one of those opportunities. I don't see us trying to possess and work it up the field. And this is just based off of what we just saw this week. Another very well-organized team. City, very well organized. I just can't imagine we're going to do anything that's out of the ordinary.
There's been so many memes that have been coming up, right? People, there's this the Scooby-Doo meme where they unmask Arteta and it's Jose Mourinho. So, people are definitely hating and calling him a football terrorist. There's all this different stuff going around, but I mean, if you look back to our transfer window policy over the last 2 years, everyone's been calling for a striker and we keep signing defenders. So I don't know why everyone's so surprised by the way we're playing. We're set up to basically come and break us down, right? Come and try to break us down. And it's really nice that we do have that togetherness, the tightness between the squad. I mean, the spaces are just so close, dude. Everyone's only like 10 yards away from each other and standing in front of our 18. So credit to Arteta, dude. How many times did we watch Arsene go to away matches and get battered just because, this is how we play, right? So I mean, credit to the manager. We're set up to get a result today. If that's a point, that's a point. That's gonna be okay. People have been freaking out, dude. With the way people have been freaking out with that performance against Atalanta, you would have thought that we've lost like 5-6 games in a row, dude.
Oh, 100%. It's all about the way it looks. Like, we're not getting the opportunities, right? Like, we're not passing the ball around, getting opportunities. Like, it was a 0-0 draw. Did Atalanta really create anything? No. Like, the pen is it, right? That's their one opportunity. But to what you're saying, it's like our strength right now is defensive shape. That's just what we're good at, and we're playing to our strengths. Is it the best thing to watch? It is absolutely not. Like, I agree, but it's not going hell to leather. Ange ball. It's not like Jurgen, like losing the heartbreak from our Liverpool friends that have lost games because they're going hell for leather. 4-3, whatever, 3-1, something crazy. Scoreline's just nuts. Or we're losing. If we're gonna lose a game, it's like 1-0, 2-1. Like, it's gonna be a tight game. It's very touchy stuff. And sure, it's not as exciting to watch right now, but when your best midfielder is out, it's like, what do you do? And we haven't found that solution yet. The striker situation with Kai, great, but you got Jesus and Martinelli. Which one of them two? Well, they're both kind of putting out stinkers. Well, okay, maybe let's bring in Sterling. He's never played a game for us, so who knows? And you got Trossard. He's kind of on a short leash at times. Like, where is he gonna play? So it's just very touchy right now, I think. So we'll see. I guess scoreline wise, I would be very surprised if it ends up like a 1-1. I don't think we both score. I just don't.
I agree. My prediction was going to be 1-0 to City. I think it'll be pressure, and you guys will absorb 95% of that pressure, and then I think it'll be a very dumb goal or like a Haaland strike outside the box for whatever reason that will just squeak its way through. I think that you guys are the best defensive team in the Premier League. I agreed with you guys before in terms of maybe being the best center back pairing in Europe, but you'd have to win some trophies, I think, in order to really establish yourselves. But I'm not looking forward to the game for that reason.
So looking at our team, I know you've watched Arsenal a little bit, Ron.
Yeah.
So like watching currently without Odegaard, if you're looking to hurt us, like, have you seen anything as far as on your own socials, any talks, or what you personally think? Where do you think you can hurt us?
Well, it depends on which midfield trio you're playing. I know that we talked about this a little bit before. Like if we're thinking it's going to be Rice, Partey, and then who do you guys think it'll be? Like Trossard again, or are you thinking Havertz and then Jesus up top?
I'll go first. I personally think it's Trossard. That's who I'm going for.
I think King Kai should play up top. I agree with you. I think King Kai should play up top, dude. I mean, Jesus just got a perfect opportunity and the ball just kept bouncing off of him. He kept making silly mistakes, I thought. And, I mean, the decision-making is just like, you wouldn't believe that this guy has won 4 Premier Leagues, or maybe more. I don't know, maybe less. But he's definitely lifted a few of those trophies, and I'm shocked by his decision making. In the Tottenham game, I was upset with him for not taking the ball to the corner. In the Atalanta game, I was upset with him for not stringing the play together. And for me, he should not get a start. There's nothing that he put out on Thursday that showed me, oh, you should play at the Etihad.
Yeah, I feel like you're getting the Jesus experience, right? Like, I feel like I saw a lot of that at City. I was not like crazy sad for him to go just because he's never been the main man. So I wanted him to be able to have the opportunity to go to Arsenal and be the main man. And then it looks like he's kind of just in the same situation that he was in at City as well, right? Like that he's playing second fiddle again behind Kai Havertz, who's been playing extremely well. And so, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. And then, you had talked about the Spurs not going to the corner. I feel like that's just coming from a guy that wants to prove himself so bad, that wants to do something so bad that he makes dumb decisions as a result.
And I know we got sidetracked a little bit. So you think the midfield basically is where you can dominate us?
I think we'll do well in the midfield. I think Declan Rice being back will make a significant difference versus us versus the lineup that you guys played at Spurs. You guys were speaking a little bit more about how Timber is pretty far up a significant portion of the time. That might have been you guys or The Rest is Football. I honestly can't remember which podcast that was from. But I think he does play pretty high up as well. His return pace is pretty good too. But at the same time, I imagine that we'll try to play in behind a little bit over there too to see what that's about. Because, I mean, Ben White played really well the last couple of times that we played him. I know that he shut down Doku pretty well. I don't expect Doku to start first and foremost, but I think we'll try down the right side a little bit more frequently this time.
Timber actually, against Atalanta at least, I felt like he was a lot tighter. That was the one thing that we called out from the Tottenham game. And maybe he watched some tape. Shout out to the coaching team, right? He was definitely tighter. We'll see. I expect us to field the same back line, same goalkeeper. I think the midfield will be Thomas Partey. I expect him to be in there. I know you said that maybe he got pulled for what happened with the penalty. Overall, yeah, I agree with you in the Atalanta game that the ball was kind of getting away with him a couple of times, and his touches weren't the cleanest. But as long as Kevin De Bruyne is not there, I feel okay with playing TP5, because in the past I've just watched Kevin De Bruyne literally run past TP5. So if he's not on the pitch, I'm like, all right, put him in there.
Had games where Kevin De Bruyne single-handedly manhandled our team. There's just memories of him and Holland. Holland didn't really do anything except receive balls from Kevin that were put on an absolute platter for him, and they just finished us. That game was crazy. Where we're like, we're in it, but over and over and over. But he's not playing. Unless player of the season Phil Foden is on the same level and does it, I don't think that would happen. The midfield to me is where it's going to be at. Like, I think you're right, Ron. That's all that really matters right now. Partey, Rice, Trossard is probably what I'm going to go for. And Trossard and Kai Havertz will be switching off, kind of doing that rotation type situation. My worry is with Partey, but it's not only with Partey, it's with Jorginho. Like, okay, Partey's not playing great. Jorginho comes in. He hasn't looked great in my opinion either. He just doesn't look great right now. I understand maybe his presence is a little different. As far as organizing us, I do think Partey is that's not what he's great at. I don't know if that's not part of his style. Like Jorginho, I think that's part of his style. I know I can't make it over there, so you stand here so I don't have to go over there, and it usually works out for us. But that's really where it's going to come down to. Our front three, I'm expecting Saka and Kai Havertz to play great. Over on the left wing, I don't really care who plays out there. To me, it doesn't matter. If it's Martinelli, he's going to run at people. Hopefully he beats him this time and he cracks his curse, but I'm not counting on it. But he will be helping out defensively, which I do love. And he'll put in 110 on that. It's just whether he can actually create anything or not. But the midfield battle, who's going to be your midfield, you think?
So the way that I predict it, it'll be Rodri. I think it'll be Gundogan again in the middle, and I think it'll be Phil. I believe based on what we've seen from Arsenal, everything very compact, very organized, very tight spaces. We'll want to play our players that are the best in tight spaces, and that fits Gundogan and Phil to a T. I'm wondering, I think right wing will be very interesting to see, and I think it'll show what Guardiola's intentions are. If we either play Savio on the right side, who's a little bit more offensive minded, and he's more of a natural winger, versus, say, playing Bernardo on the right, which I think would tell me that he's intending on possessing a lot more, not necessarily taking as many chances. But yeah, I think that we'll try to go through Phil. We'll try to play short passes between Phil and Gundogan and Rodri, and hopefully get around this midfield that hopefully is not as good with Odegaard being out.
And I guess I'll throw to you, KP. So we both said Partey and Rice. Do you think they play in a double pivot?
Ooh, yeah. I think make it 6. I think make it back 6 and let the other 4 just have fun. I'm totally with you on that. I think my question for Ron as he was chatting about it was, like, I'm excited to see Bernardo Silva personally play against Timber, just because of the amount of space Timber gives people to run at him. So I want to just be watching out for that. But now I'm also wondering, well, who's going to play left wing for you?
Probably Jack, honestly. Grealish has had a really good start to this season. He's been playing very consistently. And he looks a lot more offensive-minded this year than in the previous year. So I still have faith in Jack Grealish. I think that him and Guardiola pairing up on the left side has always been very good. So I'm actually excited to see what that's going to look like too, because he'll come inside and then Guardiola will either be on the left and he also goes inside too. So it's a fun combination.
And are all of your defenders healthy?
Ake just got hurt in international break, so he's really the only person I believe that is not healthy.
So it'll be...
So my guess would be, I think we're going to start with Rico Lewis. I think Rico will hopefully play right back. He's been coming inside a lot more and playing alongside the defensive mid. I'm wondering if that's mainly because Rodri has been out, but he also played against Inter for a period of time too. I think it'll be Rico, Ruben Diaz, Akanji, and Guardiola as our back line.
Dare I say it? That sounds beatable to me, man. Ake, to be honest with you, Ake is the one that I do not want to play against. I think he has Saka's number. I think he's really good. I think he's the kind of like that perfect build of defender that Saka doesn't want to play. Gavardiol, I do rate him, and I'm not saying that he's always going to cook him or anything like that. Barbecue chicken. I'm not saying that, but I do think he has a better chance against him. And then Rico Lewis, I do think he's a good player, but I guess if Martinelli's going to run at anybody in that team, I guess that's who I'd prefer him to run at. You got something to say?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it.
I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised, not confrontational here, I wouldn't be surprised if Walker does play, because it is a lot safer of a choice overall. I'm wondering how Guardiola's reading how much Arsenal will actually try to push forward, because if they feel like they're just going to absorb pressure and catch us on the break, then maybe he'll want Rico to be a big part of that possession, because he's also really good in tight spaces as well. And Walker offers pretty much nothing moving forward. So it's a difficult choice to make. Interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking the opposite of that. Like, we are going to absorb the pressure, try to counter, and you'd want Walker there to be running folks down. Like, that was my thought.
Yeah, I think Akanji might play on the right side. He's usually playing on the left-sided center back, but if he plays on the right and he provides that cover, if Martinelli is to move forward, I feel like that would be enough pace to hopefully contain Martinelli. But it's really just pick your poison, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think there's a lot of good matchups there. Ben White, Jack Grealish, I kind of like that. And I think that to me is where it's going to be. There's going to be a little skirmish. 100%. I think they're both kind of the same type of mentality of players. So it's kind of exciting. I can see them a little flare up over there on the right side.
I don't think they like each other, too.
No, because Ben White's prettier.
Yeah, don't fool yourself. He's tanner. I don't know if he's prettier.
He definitely has more tattoos, so I think we'll take that. You can take that to the bank. But listen, man, as you've been both chatting, and I heard you say contain Martinelli, so I think it's time. I think it's time to talk about our left wing, Steven, because as you've been chatting, I'm starting to think maybe play Waneri. I'm starting to think maybe play Jorginho, TP5, Declan Rice. Because I've seen a lot of people come out on the timeline saying the sun will shine on us again. Well, guess what, young man? The sun is shining. It's shining on the bench.
That's a pretty big change, right? You know, playing him at left wing for the first time in however long against a pretty big matchup.
What you think? Oh, Waneri's not going to go left wing. Sorry, Trossard will go left wing, and Waneri gets into the three midfielders. That's how I'm thinking about it. And
I thought you said Jorginho, TP5, and Rice. You think you're going to play a fourth midfielder?
No. I'm saying it's either those three in the middle, or instead of Jorginho, it's Waneri. And Trossard goes to the left wing, because I'm at a stage where I got to be honest. I mean, all these people talking about how the sun's going to shine on us. Well, the last time the sun shined on us when we beat Manchester City, when there was that deflection goal, didn't Martinelli come off the bench in that game?
He did. He came off an injury. So,
I mean, what am I seeing? What are you seeing? Right? There's your impact off the bench from sticks.
We could have left wing talk is interesting. That's really an interesting one for me. I would love to know like what the decision making process is there. The fan favorite, he's a fan favorite, Martinelli. So like there's a whole contingent of fans that are like, he's gonna play his way out of this, right? He's gonna play his way out of it. He scored goals before. Don't worry about it. He does so much defensively. Why would we not want that? Okay, that's fair enough. Then there's the contingent of like, well, Trossard gets goals from there. Martinelli doesn't. They're working with the same people, blah, blah, blah. I'm kind of going like, why not even Jesus? He can come back. He can go forward. We are playing with, if we play with Kai Havertz, Trossard, and Jesus, I think all three of them can like work together, right? And create this like very mobile type situation where I can go here, Trossard will go left and he will go central. Like he doesn't care. He just wants the pocket of space that best fits him where he can get the ball and create danger. Jesus, he don't care either. He'll go wherever he feels he can create something. And then Havertz, of course, the space monster. That's what he do. So I personally don't want Martinelli to play. I do think he will. I just think there's better options there.
I think he will too. And the decision making, I'm so happy you brought that up. Very recently I saw a clip pop up on the timeline that was from the documentary. And it's Mikel Arteta talking to the squad saying, I think he had gotten COVID, something like that, maybe. But he's talking to the squad and he tells them that he's been watching a lot of trainings, of the videos of the trainings. And he's saying, I've watched like 22 trainings that we've had. There's a few players who train at a very high level. There's a few players who train at a good level. And there's a lot of players who, you just show up. You're just showing up. And I think that's what gives Martinelli the starting shirt. Because I bet you he works his ass off in training. Because I see it on the field and he works his ass off in training. I mean, in the game. So I think that's where decision making comes from, dude, is that this guy just trains with his absolute 100% every time. Therefore, he should have the shirt. And maybe that speaks a little bit to the inexperience of the manager. Call it that, for lack of a better word.
Hey, I feel like we always kind of end up in this place here. And this is part of when I said the dark side of the game, the gloominess of the outcome, and I said subs. It basically ends up in where. So you suggested Waneri starting. Ain't no fucking way that man's starting the game. There's no way. He didn't play against Tottenham. He didn't play in a dead rubber against Atalanta. Ain't no way he's starting this game. I don't even think he's gonna get minutes. Okay? There's the stubbornness about it, and we haven't broken through that. We don't know why. We haven't broken through that barrier. I don't know if it's a lot of favoritism. I don't know if I know I can get something out of him, and you're an unknown. I know product A, B, and C. I know what they are. I've seen them do it. You're product D, never seen it. You're inexperienced. I don't even want to know. I don't want to know because something bad happens. That to me, like that's what his thought process is, and I don't agree with it personally. When you've had good opportunities this season to like give the kid a chance to like look at stuff, and now we're in the situation where our best creative midfielder is hurt. What are we doing? Our left wingers not producing. What are we gonna do? I don't know.
I don't know either, man. But after the little cameo that I saw from Calafiori, I am starting to think maybe we should play a 5-2-3. Maybe.
My God, what is this mentality coming out of this pod? God, that's just shameful, right? If you want to be a dog, you gotta fucking bark, dude. Bark.
Again, I just finished saying that there ain't no way he's doing I just don't see him doing that. There's been so many opportunities to change things like drastically like that, and he doesn't. So we can talk it till we're blue in the face, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like if Arteta is as similar to Pep as everyone says he is, which I think that he is quite similar in how he runs the team, just generally. Like I'm with you, Steven. I don't see Ethan making the squad, or making the starting 11. I don't think that there's any way that you start with something so drastically different on the biggest stage of the season so far.
Yeah, he's probably not, dude. Honestly, I just every time I think about it, I just want Martinelli out of the starting line, and it has nothing to do with his ability. I don't doubt his ability for a second, dude. I know what his.
If you thought that, you wouldn't want him out so bad. Like it's clearly about his ability, dude. Like, come on, he hasn't done anything. Like, it's okay.
What? No, what I disagree with is this notion that if I just keep playing him, he'll find form. That's what I disagree with. My point isn't that I'm doubting Martinelli. That's the point I'm making, Ron, because there's a lot of the fan base saying people are writing off Martinelli. I'm not writing off Martinelli. I count on him. I count on him to make an impact. What I'm writing off is this silliness that if I keep playing him, he'll find form, because I've watched it for 18 months and there hasn't been a goal contribution.
Because he's not able to do it, continuing to start game after game after game. I don't think that you lost faith in the player altogether. I'm just saying that you don't think that he's going to do anything in the match, and you want to see something different.
I think he will do something in the match if he comes off the bench.
Sure. Has he
rotation?
How have his bench his substitution performances been?
They're usually pretty great. Dude. He's always scoring. He's always putting the game away. Yeah, no, he is, because he's breaking through the lines and we're countering teams, and it's great. And I mean, dude, the Atalanta game, he had 2 great opportunities. He put both of them over the bar. I don't doubt his ability, dude. I just think he needs to get his head up, and I think he needs a little bit of a break. And if he comes off the bench, he'll get the goal contributions. But we just keep throwing him out there, and he himself, you can just tell, dude, is the best way to give him confidence to just keep throwing him out there and say, go on and you'll find your confidence. Like, is that the best way of treating a player like that?
And let's look at the flip side of it. The players that aren't starting, what do they think? Like, I can't imagine. Trossard the other week when he scored after Martinelli started, he scores again and is like, made that face like, I'm here. Like, this is what I do. This is what I do. You got Sterling now, and you got Jesus also. I think Trossard's going to be playing just due to the Odegaard injury. But now you got these other two guys. Like, why am I not playing over him? What has he done? What has he done lately? Nothing. So, again, and Martinelli can come off the bench. I do trust him off the bench. I do. I think he can do something. So going off of this Martinelli chat, I think it's something to keep in mind. I said it. Rotation. I don't find us to be a team that rotates a lot. And we go back to just Arteta's stubbornness. We run it back. We call it run it back mode here on the pod. We run it back a lot. We use the same team. I look at other really good teams. Liverpool, they got a great front three. Gakpo seems to kind of make his way in, make his way out. Diogo Jota makes his way in, makes his way out. City, how many different lineups have you guys had so far as your rotation goes?
Starting from Community Shield, if we even want to count that, there would be 5 different lineups. 4 if we're not including Community Shield. And it's usually just switching of the wingers. I know that Stones has started a few games, and then with Rodri also playing as well, just starting his first game this last match. That was the the main change-up against Inter. So it is really just mainly the wingers that change. And then maybe Kyle Walker versus Rico Lewis is a subject to change too.
I think that's bingo, right? KP, we talked about that last year. Like, you run it out so many times, people catch on. Like, they catch on to what you're doing. Even if you get an injury, he seems like this is our lineup now, and we do really well for a few weeks. And then people catch on and will, like, start knowing our habits. Why I don't know why don't we rotate very much? We have the squad now for it, and it's still not happening.
Yeah, and I mean, you put the rotation aside. In the past, I've called for our wingers just switching. I'd like to see Martinelli on the other side. Like, I don't doubt his ability. Like, just because Grealish doesn't start games, no one thinks he's a bad player. Like,
plenty of people think he's a bad player.
Well,
they don't know ball though. They don't know ball.
That is true.
This is a footballing pod, so I think Grealish is a good player. I don't find him to be a bad player. I think for 100 million, I wouldn't put him as I wouldn't say he's the worst 100 million signing, right? I'd look at Manchester United. I'd look at the other Manchester team for that kind of stuff.
Or Chelsea.
Listen, man, I think Martinelli, all the best to him. I'll probably see him walking out last when the team is taking the pitch at the Etihad, and I hope for everyone's sake that he contributes to a goal. I can already count on him working hard defensively. I can already count on him, running to the ground. But it's the goal contributions, man. We got to see it, and it's nothing personal at this point, man. The team has gotten to a stage now where it's just business, bro. It's just business, and we need trophies. The manager needs trophies. So I think for my score prediction, I would say it's tough, right? Because it's an Arsenal pod, so you want to say we win. But maybe on the flip side, chat, I should try to jinx the other team by saying I think City wins 3-1.
Ooh, spicy. I'm going same as midweek. I'm going to go with the draw, and I'm going 0-0. It's going to be 0-0 with a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, I don't think that there will be 4 goals in this match, unfortunately. I wish I would love a 3-1. I'm going to go with 1-0, like I said before. A lot of nothing, and then a Jamie goal at the end.
Okay, well, we will see. Obviously, I hope everyone has a really nice weekend. This pod should be dropping Saturday morning, so enjoy the matches. Let's go around the league actually really quick. Are there any other good games to call out?
I feel like there's a lot of fun matches that I was looking at, right? Like Chelsea West Ham is going to be fun. I think Spurs and Brentford is going to be really fun too. Like, I'm really excited for that match actually. And I fully expect United to lose against Crystal Palace, if I'm being honest. I'm pumped for that too.
Fly, Eddie, fly.
What about you guys? Anything else?
I think
I'm interested. I'm interested in this Liverpool game. Liverpool Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth look all right, and they just lost that. Liverpool lost the game at home last week, so let's see if they can respond.
Stepped on your toe there, dude. But I was also gonna say, watch out for Bournemouth. Watch out for Bournemouth. That's my co-host, dude.
My co-host, he's done it again.
Dude, Fulham Newcastle, I gotta give a shout out, right? There's 3 Arsenal boys on Fulham, four Arsenal boys on Fulham. Newcastle, they've been getting lucky, dude, every match week. So hopefully this is the one where they drop some points. I think Tottenham Brentford, that's a really good shout, dude. Have you guys been hearing some of the media turn on Ange? I think that's been very fascinating, right? You think about when he entered the league, how everyone was just bigging him up in the media. Suddenly everyone's like, oh, he's kind of rude, isn't he?
I think he might have been figured out, dude. After his good start, I forget what the numbers were. I'd have to look that up at some point and get back to you guys on that. But his record after the first 6 matches or so that he started has been pretty horrible. And I know that I think it's only been maybe 2 wins in the last 11 or something like that. It's crazy. Kind of crazy.
Oof. Tottenham are known to be from my perspective, media darlings. I don't know why, but the English, to me, seems like they like Tottenham for some reason. They love this dude Ange coming in there with the Australian accent. They loved him, but the mates really have worn off, right? The mates mixed with the results, it's kind of going down the tubes. If I was to put my money on who's going to get sacked first, that's probably who I'd put my money on.
Really, dude? He was out here saying in his second season he always delivers a trophy.
Hey, that's my dark horse, for real. I just don't see them getting the results. I just don't. The way they look, just not great. What didn't they lose, or they had that draw to start the season against Leicester? Not great. They came back. I think they got a win, and then 2 in a row, and the one to us. I'm telling you, that's devastating for them. It had to be devastating.
So Angie's going to get sacked. Sean Dyche is going to resign, and then we'll see him at Tottenham. Heard it on the pod.
So this is the stat that I was thinking about. After picking up 26 points from the first 10 Premier League games under Postecoglou, Tottenham have collected just 44 from the last 32 fixtures. That is not a great rate for a Tottenham team. That would be 87%.
Yeah.
87% of total points for the first 10, and then just 46% of total points for the last 32. That ain't good.
It's not. The other game on Sunday is Nottingham Forest and Brighton. So that's the early game. Not much to really talk about there. I'm sure everyone's just going to be pre-gaming for the big match of the weekend. This will be 5 games, right?
Game week 5, yeah.
Game week 5, dude. And if it is a 3-1, if it is a 2-0, how would you be devastated, Steven, by that? Would you expect the fan base to just be outpouring online that we're not gonna win the league now?
I don't doubt that the fan base would feel that way, but no. I think we both kind of had the same take last week going into the Tottenham game. I don't see anything happening that I would really mind. We're not going to fall apart. We're going to go out there and put on a show to our values, right? To our principle. If we lose, we lose, and that's fine. We're down a couple folks. It is what it is. It's football, but we'll be riding it out. Last year would have been different because the game was in October, I believe. It was we were well into the season at that point. This one feels a little bit different. Away to Spurs, away to Atalanta, away to City. It's a tough run. It's just a tough run. So I'm for it. 0-0. I think if we get a 0-0, I'm actually very, very happy with that result.
I agree with you. As long as we get a result, it would be nice. And don't beat yourself over the head if things don't go well. But just have no fear. That's been the message on the pod, right? Have no fear.
The only thing I would be in the dumps about is if that big toe Haaland scores a hat trick. Then I'll be upset. Put that on the record.
I hope so.
We shall see, dude. All right. Well, I think we should leave this one where it is. Everyone, thanks so much for spending time with us. Thanks, as always, for tuning in to these podcasts. We appreciate it. Drop a rating or a review if you're feeling the vibes, and we will see you on the other side.
Thanks for joining us again, Ron.
Thank you for having me again. Looking forward to Sunday.
Boo! Be easy.